All right, Facebook, we ready for the weekly hip hop college source. This is Broody Carl Alexander. I am going to do our introduction. I'm still practicing on this, and we're trying to make sure we get everything right here. Look like Facebook got a few changes. And bam. I'm going to restart that. We're going to restart it. Vibration is the parent group behind Hip Hop College Source. The idea was to connect with colleges, much like a fraternity, sorority, and Hip Hop College Source was where we wanted to be able to do that. Still the dream of mine. I changed it to a weekly.
Give me the strength to go further, Lord. Give me the strength to go further.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to put this back at the beginning, and we are going to go into our program. This is the fourth Hip Hop College Source, and I thank you all for joining me. Those of you who are here with me right now, we're going to put a little bit more light on. We're just going to be here for a few minutes. It's a 15-minute program. We're just talking about a few of the things happening in the world. Last week, we talked about American fiction. We talked about the Magical Negro Show, and we had a few comments about that. This week, I'm going to talk about why are people, Black people, gravitating to President Trump. Deep question. I think bottom line is people are not listening at the rhetoric. They say, forget the rhetoric, and they say, what has he actually done? He gave out at least 2 stimulus during his time as president. He has done things for Black people, empowerment zones, different things like that. And as an economic businessman, even though that's debatable, people like that particular aspect. And Biden's rhetoric is kind of boring, down. Trump's is up. And let's face it, he is must-see TV. You cannot help but watch him. You cannot help but watch him and see what is going on. He's very interesting, and Black people like that. He's an entertainer. And in this world, I guess some people say, hey, we miss that excitement. My life is boring. I can always watch President Trump as president and find some interesting things to talk about. I think that he is dangerous in the rhetoric and the comment about the bloodbath. What is he talking about? Is he talking about a civil war? That has been debated and talked about for a long, long time since he's been up there. And of course, we did have January 6th. So I think for the good of the country, he's not good for the country. Putting him in jail is not the answer. Let me say this. Maybe for the good of the country, it might be best that he does win and we gonna get this 4 years over with, because legally he cannot run again. Now, he might want to try to change the rules, and it might be the case that as far as black people go, I don't think he's going to do too much to hurt us in that context. Um, Maybe, because the alternative is kind of scary, that he not be president and all his supporters are, revved up. So let me say that. If you are watching out there, let me ask this question. Is it better for the country for Trump to go ahead and get this 4 years over with, and then we can move on? And they can contain him in that office. We know where he is. We know what he's doing. If we go and get this 4 years over with. I think that now that I'm thinking, I think this might be better. And looks like that is the two choices we're going to have. And would he be better than Biden? I don't know. One thing I think would be the worst is if something happens to Biden and Kamala Harris becomes president, there'll be a revolt. I'm okay with it, whomever is president out of those group of people, but it would scare some people to death if she was there, but no more than Trump is. So I don't know, but I don't think that's the best case scenario. I voted for Biden, but I'm okay if Trump becomes president, because at least we know where he is and what's going on, and I believe we can contain him as president. He causes so much trouble just being out there talking. So you have the press on him, you have the military apparatus that's around him, his lawyers, everybody else. So maybe it'd be best that he go ahead and get his 4 years more over with. And then we probably would have to worry about him trying to make another 4 years and maybe try to make a dictatorship. But according to our laws, I'm not sure what the amendment is. That is not possible. Hey, this is Hip Hop College Source Weekly. I'm Baruch Carl Alexander. Every Sunday I come to you. I try to do some things to figure out about this Zoom process. I wanted to put some notes upon our screen here. It says sign into the web portal. Click on the meeting tab. Well, I'm going to do this at the end of our program. I'm going to do this at the end, and we're going to see what we can do with it. And just like I'm trying to get that introduction right, I talked to the Zoom people. I said, Zoom, I need to be able to put an introduction in the beginning or at the end of my show and have it come on automatic. When I hit the button, it just automatically comes on. So that's what I would like to do in that context. Yes, I'm okay with President Trump getting that 4 years over with. I can't believe he will do any more damage than he's doing right now. And he might be appeased if he wins and he gets his chance to do 4 more years. We have enough checks and balances. I believe in our Constitution that would contain him where he couldn't destroy a bunch of things. I saw a recent documentary called The Space Race. I don't think I've talked about this before, but it talked about the Black astronauts, and one of the highlights of that documentary was when one of the younger astronauts was in space on a solo mission, and he asked for all the Black astronauts from the past to come on that podcast, that international and cosmological connection with him. And there was about 20 Black astronauts that were there, going back to Guy Buford, Mae Jemison. Those were two of the main people, but most of all the Black astronauts that have been a part of the space program and been in space were on that connection with him. And the documentary talked about the first Black astronaut that President Kennedy went out and got and brought a part of the program, Ed Dwight, who I didn't know about, but Ed Dwight was the first astronaut, and that was a very historical event. Now, he was eventually driven out, you may say, or he just phased himself out because he didn't want to deal with the racism anymore and the difficult parts of trying to go through that process. But then, of course, 3 of the next astronauts and 3 of the ones who were successful to come through the program were Guy Buford, Ron McNair, and another gentleman, I forgot his name, but those 3, and they put them there together, and that helped them to survive the program. It was no pressure on just one of them. Of course, Ron McNair died in the space shuttle, I think it was 88, and has many schools and different things named after him. But the evolution of the space program has really evolved. Today, we still have the space facilities, but you have much more of a skeleton organization within NASA and the other ones, because you have all these independent groups that are working to put men in space. You have SpaceX and Blue something. You have Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, I believe, are the 2 gentlemen that own both of those. And William Shatner, Captain Kirk, is went in space. And so it is, and President Obama is the one that started moving the space program to the independent phase. And we're going to do a program about that one of these days on the Source Seek Hour. Let me get a chance to share. Again, this is weekly, Hip Hop's College Source Weekly. Every Sunday, 8 p.m., we talk about the events happening in Black culture and different things going on. We talked about why is Black people flocking to President Trump. Are they going to be the difference in the campaign? I don't know, but again, if so, okay, let him get it these 4 years over with, and let's hope we survive. Because there's so much conflict without him being there. Let's just let him be there and then finish out his 4 years. He can't be president no more. And so that will be the extent of that, and we'll see what happens. Then I talked about the space race, and that is a still evolving thing. Space out there in the beyond, different planets, Mars, Venus, Jupiter. As far as we know, no people are on there yet. And it is a very interesting thing, the cosmos. They used to kind of judge the weather, judge the spirit of people by looking at the stars and mapping the stars and all these kinds of things. It's so much in the science of the cosmos. And there's a great book on that called Nile Valley Civilizations by Anthony Browder. And so that is a very interesting thing, that before we had all this technology, people used to delve into those things a lot more. The last thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go back to Bob Marley and the movie One Love. I think it's established now that the critics didn't like it, but the people loved it, and it's made a lot of money. At last, I heard it was the #5 biopic of all time, but I think it's probably moved up the ladder. I had to check that. An interesting tidbit again was #2 all time was Straight Outta Compton, basically the Eazy-E NWA story. So that was a tidbit. But the part I want to say about Bob Marley is the Rastafarian spiritual beliefs stemming from Haile Selassie, Marcus Garvey, and the man who they portrayed in the movie as the spiritual leader of the Rastafarians. Now, in his lyrics, he has so much about spirituality, from natural mystic to, of course, Get Up, Stand Up, redemption song. There is so much, and I haven't heard all of the songs of Bob Marley, but he was a musician. That was his ministry. That was his sermon. And that was his expression of God that he had with him all the time. That's what people have to understand. He was not just a musician, a carefree musician. He had God on his mind all the time, and the connection with God. You know, everything, his whole being was about that. And his whole being was connected to that. And all the other things we could get caught up with, him having 11 kids from 7 different baby mamas. I made the comment he was Nick Cannon before Nick Cannon. Yes, but what he was doing and the lyrics and the deepness in which he was bringing all of that together in the spiritual context of what he had. So Much Trouble in the World was one of his songs. Also, War, Everywhere is War. If you listen to those words, those powerful words, they have not been equalized to this day. I just found out his son, not son, grandson, YG Marley, from his son, Rohan Marley, has a new hit out. It's called Praise Jah in the Sunshine, or Praise Jah in the Moonlight, or something like that. I wish I had checked on that title beforehand, but look at YG Marley and his current song that he has out. And of course, he is the son of Lauryn Hill also. So there is so much things happening. We talked about 3 subjects. We are almost at our time, our 15 minutes. That is all we coming on for. But I would like to thank you for joining me. And you can continue to join me every Sunday, 8 o'clock. No matter what's going on, I like to come on and just talk for a second. I also want to work on different things to be able to enhance my network, my platform, and I have some Zoom notes here that I'm going to work on. I'm going to shut down with what we're doing first, but thank you for joining me. I'm Baruti Carl Alexander, and we're going to go out with our theme song for this show. We're going to play it again, and we thank you, and let's go for it.
Give me the strength to go further, Lord. Give me the strength to go further.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week on Hip Hop College Source. Thank you.